Welcome to The Purple Door, a podcast for young women by young women, with your host, Shanique Lowndes. Each week, we deliver the best hard-hitting analysis of topical issues that affect young women and how they deal with them. Today, we bring you part 2 of our discussion. Thanks for tuning in.
I love those type of elders and women ministries leaders, who just take you in as young people. And sometimes you're around each other, you don't even know who is with who, just the fellowship. So dating needs a community,
It definitely needs a community. If we are being honest, all 5 of us here, we have been in the church for extended periods, but being honest, how many of us actually had that experience? How many of us had an older sister in the church, in the faith, who saw us when we were teenagers and was willing to guide us in the process in their own way? If we're being practical, a lot of them were quick to stay. So why that one, they sit down right there, so beside that one. And so for us, well, I can speak for me. At times, I did not feel comfortable. If me like a boy, why me go say me go like the boy there and make everybody hear? Me no want nobody think say me not think about my schoolwork. But we actually have a responsibility to our younger sisters,
yes,
and to our sisters in our own general age group to be able to give counsel and not to chastise, but to just speak lovingly and to create that kind of ambience, that setting. The Sabbath lunch, AY in the evening, rap sessions, group dates, we go Hope Garden, we go beach together, we play volley together, we do things because, to be honest, the world is telling us that he needs to roll up in his car, pull up for you, carry you to wherever, have a nice dinner, go to the movies, go over to his house for a nightcap. Whatever it is. That's what the world is telling us.
Yes.
And if the church is not willing to say, well, this is actually the setting and create that environment, we will not date as God wants us to.
Ladies, I'm going to backtrack a little. I read this book. It says, I Kiss Dating Goodbye. And the essence of the book was that dating was not something that should be a part of our existence. And what the author was saying was that, it would more of be like an arranged marriage, but it's a little bit different because you watch everybody, and then when you're ready to marry now, you zoom into that one person and you end up marrying. The aim of that was to avoid fornication, being heartbroken, and all of that. How, as a young lady, what can I do to facilitate this process? I don't want to sin. I don't want to be heartbroken. What can I do?
Go on group dates.
Hold each other accountable.
We have a church. We have social. If you meet somebody, go on group dates. Go out with friends. As a matter of fact, group dates would be better than going on a one-on-one date. Because if you don't know this person, sometimes there is awkward silence. I don't know what to ask or whatever. But a group date, you have your friend. If you have a good friend, your friend are probably up in the guy business, and so why are you there, So a group date would be really good, and it helps to avoid being in uncomfortable situations or situations that you don't have much control over. I had one question for you guys though. What age should young people start dating?
That is a very good one. My mother is here and I'm certain she would say, when you're done school. When you finish school. But I think dating, honestly, can start from you are a teenager. But here's the thing. It has to be a guided process. And that goes back to the point of the brother and the sisters that are over you, that supporting the process. So we're not telling you as age 16 to go off and no one-to-one and is alone. But in those settings that are being created that you might not even realize, by the way. So the socials that are here at church can be a setting for that. The church trip can be a setting for that. Whatever it is, the reunion with your family and this person, friend attends, that can be that setting. But it's also walking towards that process, because if your focus is just to get the man, but you're actually not preparing yourself in other ways. So, mentally you're not getting the career that you need to get, or you're not physically focusing on yourself, ensuring that you're emotionally ready. There are so many different steps that you can focus on. So it's not a set date. I can't tell you when you turn 16, when you turn 20, because everybody's experience is different as
Here's
well.
how my mother says it. And I think this is a good formula. When you go to university, she says, and I've proven it, you meet the widest cross-section of people that you will meet again, that you'll ever meet in your life. Because after that, your environments are very closed and you meet a certain type of people. So we're teachers, we see teachers and students. Wherever you work, you see people who work in that field. But when you're at university, and everybody's on the same level too. So a girl who is studying social sciences doesn't feel any way to just approach a guy who is in medicine because, hey, we're all university students. So it's not that he's a doctor and I am just whatever I am in social sciences. But at that stage, university is a good time to date.
I agree with you, Shani, because you see this relationship thing now? It is not 100-meter dash. It's a marathon.
Yes.
And what I've realized is that when you're in high school, you don't have control over your life. You know, I mean, you can be dating somebody and your parents just decide that we're migrating tomorrow, and some of them can tell you the date too, you know, because they're not obligated to warn you before. And that sort of really puts you through a trauma because you tie up your emotions with this person and now you have to find yourself pull apart. Just as what you say. Sometimes you tie up yourself in high school and you go to college and you really want to drop that guy, you don't know how, but I mean, you're up to better things now. Not to say the person you were dating before is any inferior and all. So I think maturity is the ideal, and a university setting, I'll go with that. You know, I think your perspective are more intact. And then, oh, you're going to date so long. I mean, 10 years and 15 years.
Dangerous.
Can you have fire in your bosom?
And not get burned for so long?
Yeah, I think that's too.
And then to the question that Chanel asked earlier, when do you start dating? Persons have put deadline on when should they get married.
Dangerous thing.
And that puts you in a position where you start, as you say, in 100-meter dash, you start to find somebody to search, and you say you grab that one and you're married, and then you're in trouble. So we have to be mindful of, do not set those time limits on yourself, but let the process take control. Let God take control and lead you to where you need to go.
No, I'm thinking that I know a few persons. The topic that we're talking about is being unequally yoked, right? I know a lot of persons that are married, as Daniel said, probably have a time limit and they just got married to the first person or whatever. But I know a few persons that they're in marriages that aren't so successful and they're determined to stay in those marriages. So I can see where you clearly can be with an Adventist but be unequally yoked still. So could you just expound?
Shani, give us the definitions, because for me, I don't want to say incompatible.
All right, Miss Scientist, let me give you the definition. So being unequally yoked, it means that you are not compatible on whatever level. So the Bible talks about not being compatible on a faith level. So you don't marry somebody who doesn't share your faith. But even within your faith, there will be those who, by virtue of socialization, which will affect so many choices they make, their profession, where they want to live, what they want to do, where they want their life to go, really don't make for you the ideal partner. So you may find that two people get married, and sometimes it happens when they get married really young. And the growing starts, because you have to grow together in your marriage. But we start growing apart because I start to think that I want to live in another country, but you really just want to stay here. Or I just get up one morning, or over time I decide I don't want any children, but you still want children. So sometimes even when we get married, incompatibility or unequally yoked happens in the marriage. How do we combat that, and how do we maintain compatibility in our marriages?
1 Corinthians 15 verse 33, do not be deceived. Evil companion corrupts good habits. I think it was just so deep. You know, I had to just stop in my devotional time and absorb this. You know, when you think about your children, when you think about the atmosphere of your home, You know, when you as a young Christian young lady aspire to be closer to God, you really want somebody who can walk you through that. And you know, being married and facing the challenge even of my son, I look back and I say, God, I thank you I'm married to a godly man. You need somebody who can really pray and intercede on behalf of the family and give that spiritual leadership. It is just so crucial because life is not just flowers and kisses and going to bed together and all the mushy stuff that you see Hollywood put out there, you know? So you really want somebody who can really journey with you on that spiritual walk. And that is something that you should ensure you're compatible about. It doesn't mean that you have to be at the same spiritual level, because it's obvious my husband is a spiritual giant in comparison to me, right? But however, you know, you have the same aspirations, if you understand what I'm saying.
And it's not just the person, so you and your husband, that's one thing, but we spoke to the community, because if the persons he interacts with at work are just about idle talk, or the same way for you, many times that may breed that kind of environment for you. So for example, your spouse or the setting you're in, they're always talking about which position them do and what them do with that one and how them and how me call her up and whatever, and all of a sudden your spouse that's in the church that is a believer is now aspiring to try these new tricks that are brought out. And so we just have to also guard the community that we are a part of to ensure that we maintain that kind of compatibility and that we don't deter and somehow detour and we're all on a different path and doing different things.
So it's about the choices we make even after we've gotten married. How do we allow other things to influence us and influence the marriage? And you know, one of the foolproof formulas for maintaining compatibility like that in your marriage is to ensure that your friends are mutual friends. Right. So it's okay for a woman to have her girlfriends that she hangs out with, and it's okay for a man who is married to have his guy friends, but your wife should know who your guy friends are. Right. And your husband should know who your girlfriends are. So Roxanne and I are friends, but Damien knows me. And when I see Damien, I can call to Damien and I can talk to him sometimes, and vice versa. So it's really about making sure that the playing field is level, that everything that affects your marriage is something that you both understand, you understand the implications of, and you agree to.
But Shani, just to throw a bit of spin into it though, you know,
you like spin?
if we're being honest, there are certain things we just don't intentionally control. What I mean is, we both got married, and we met in school. We were both on the level playing field. And then my decision was to go again and study again. So I got a master's and I got promoted. And then after I got that, I got promoted again because I worked so hard in my organization and I keep climbing the ladder. But the husband has remained the very same. He has been stagnant almost professionally. Does that somehow breed a sense of incompatibility? And do I then become unequally yoked with this person? Because if we're being honest at the same time, maybe I would have started to, have certain kind of conversations. When I go out for a corporate brunch, I'm dialoguing with the CEO and my husband needs to be there. How is it that we maintain that compatibility even if there are changes within, each of us individually?
All right, so with that, you have to, in the marriage, be open to conversing, to communicating, to discussing these things. Along the way, you will each have your own level of growth. And maybe in his field, he has his level of growth. But to set your standards that you have for each other and set your standards that, we're moving together, we're doing this together, we're going to step together. And in everything we're doing it in unison. That's why God says the two become one.
Yes, because here's the thing. Even though he may not have gotten promoted, if you're going back to school to study, you should be having conversations in your marriage about what are the implications for you and how he's going to fit into that. So I am a teacher. Me and my husband, we got married when I was a teacher. I go back to school, I study, I now become the head of my department. And then a principal post opens up somewhere and I apply for it. We have to talk. So he has to know that I'm applying. And we have to talk about how this is going to affect our marriage. So when I have functions and retreats and conferences to go to, are you going to come? Will you be comfortable? What are some things that you may need to learn or need to do in preparation to walk with me as I progress professionally?
Someone once said that at the end of their journey, they never asked that they should have spent more time in the office than with their family. Always remember that your family comes first. And these things that call forth our talents and our attention is not the sum total of life. So at the end of the day, you just put out your jacket and stuff at the doorway and still be a family. Because that's what matters at the end of the day. So don't allow your accomplishments, or while you must aspire together, don't get me wrong. Don't allow your accomplishments to ward off what is most important, and that is each other and your family.
I just remembered, I heard they say whatever starts a relationship often can end a relationship. Like you always see what would end the relationship at the start of the relationship. For example, you meet this guy, he's always coming with jokes or whatever. You say he's so funny, he's jovial, whatever. And then 2 years down or whatever, you say, this man can't take nothing serious. So, in saying that, to me, if we date properly, if we slow down and just look at people clearly, we would have seen that this guy that I'm interested in is not as ambitious as I am. Or when I want to do a PhD, this man comfortable with a first degree. So I just think that maybe if we date properly or we slow down, take time to really know each other, then we'll see exactly who we're getting involved with. And even if in a case where you have a master's degree, a PhD or whatever, and you're getting promoted and your husband is still at that stagnant level for whatever reason, hopefully you're with the type of person that is encouraging and that loves you enough to encourage you and to say, go babe, you're doing a great job, and hopefully you can then motivate that person to want something more, not just for you to satisfy you, but for your kids,
Yes, and we're talking about the career-wise and the professionality, but also the lifestyle ambition. You want to build a house for your family. You want us to move, get better in life. The ambition's not just on a career level, but also on the physical level in life, spirituality as well. Someone who will help to grow you, pull you with them, or you pull them too. That's what we need, the well-roundedness. That's what we're looking for.
Before you go, Shanique, this has come over me and I just want to say it. I'm here today and I'm in a relationship. It has been a very serious relationship and it is a very good relationship. But my partner has expressed to me that he really doesn't believe in this whole Christianity thing, It's difficult. It's somebody who have dated for years. We have built our lives together and we're thinking about marriage, and listening to this program, I feel as if I'm at a crossroad. What can I really do? I know you guys are going, but I'm just impressed because I feel as if there might be a young lady here who is in that situation and struggling. How? What could she do at this point in time?
It has to be something that she puts before God. It has to be something that first she prays about. You have to pray about this. And it's not just a surface level prayer. You have to really seek God. Go into His Word. See what He's saying to you. Listen to hear what He's saying to you.
Listening.
You have to listen to what He's saying to you. And if you are still uncomfortable, seek godly counsel. Find somebody who you can trust, a godly woman friend, even a godly man friend, because sometimes our girls find good godly counsel from our gentlemen in church, and we have to give credit to the men out there who really stand by our
Let's
young
give them a round of
people.
applause. Yes, man. Yes,
There are some men out there that really stand by our young people. Find somebody mature. Find somebody who can look at you, see your pain, validate the feelings that you're having about not leaving this person, but can look you squarely in your eye and say, girl, I know how you feel, but this one have to go.
Thanks for listening to The Purple Door. This podcast is made possible by the Women's Ministry Department of the Central Jamaica Conference for listeners like you. Visit them at centralja.org. Like The Purple Door on Facebook and Instagram and leave your comments and questions. And remember to subscribe so you never miss a show. Join us next week for another great discussion. Until then, be blessed.